Okay, fellas, the subject is red hair because one of the brothers made a comment saying that it actually originated in Central Asia and they migrated into Europe. Uh, so I went looking for information on redheads. We're talking about redheads. And it said they're giving me information that occurs in people of northern, western ancestry mostly these days. Less frequently in other populations. Red hair appears in people with two copies of a recessive gene on chromosome 16, which causes a mutation in the MC1R protein. Okay, it's due to a mutation. It is characterized by high levels of reddish pigment pheomelanin. Remember, we're back to melanin, and relatively low levels of dark pigment eumelanin. Okay, so their eumelanin is real low, and their pheomelanin, it looks like it's more active. The term redhead originally redhead, has been in use since at least 1510. Associated with fair skin, lighter eye color. Okay, that's modern stuff. The Greeks, the Thracians, they talked about having redheads. The Roman historian Tacitus comment on the red hair, large limb of the inhabitants of Caledonia, which he connected to some red-haired Gaulish tribes of the Germanic and Belgic tribes or areas. In Asia, red hair has been found among the ancient Tocharians, who occupy the Tarim Basin, which is now the western province of China. Caucasian Tarim mummies have been found with red hair dating back to 2nd millennium BC. I actually seen copies of those or photos of those mummies. They didn't realize there was trade between Asia and Europeans. They found trade routes, really, really old trade routes. So we don't know if it came from there to Northern Europe or if it spread from Northern Europe down to there. Red hair, but it's all over the world. These pure Africans, red hair. Polynesians, red hair. Okay, it's caused by a mutation, so it can happen anywhere. Let's see, Scotland, 13% of the population red hair, but 40% are carrying the recessive redhead gene. The Ashkenazi Jewish population, so they say because of the influx of European DNA over a period of centuries. And I've talked about the original Jews and the converted Jews of Europe. And the Bible says Esau and David are described in the Bible as having red hair. There's even the Italian Jews with red hair. The Berbers of Morocco, northern Algeria. Now Algeria is African, and these are the original Berbers. These are the people that migrated in with the lighter skin. And this is the continent of Africa. And these people, lighter ones, came from the east and migrated in. I'm gonna get a lot of arguments about that, but you got to know the real history. These people did not, you can tell these are mostly like what we call Middle Eastern types of people. Arabic, if that's another word we can use, that migrated in. Moroccans are a mix of the Arabic and the Africans that were originally there. Okay, so what else can we find out on them? Red hair is a recessive genetic trait caused by a series of mutations in the melanocortin 1 receptor, MCR1, a gene located on chromosome 16. as a recessive trait, it's got to be inherited from both parents. Down here, they talk more about that key word, which is melanin. Unfortunately, for you Caucasian people, your genes are recessive genes. And your body doesn't have the ability to produce the melanin that allows, the black polymer melanin that allows you to have dark hair and skin, or tan in the sunlight. Pheomelanin has a, and this is what Northern Europeans will have, it's called pheomelanin. It's a very low level of melanin. It's a different type of melanin, but it has a pink to red hue that's present in lips, nipples, and genitals. But you see that, I've seen that a lot of the, like English, because of the low level sunlight, they have a pink undertone to them. I call them pink people. The mutation in the MCR1 gene imparts the hair, skin, and I talked about that yesterday. Blonde hair is just merely, lack of melanin in the hair. That's really what it really is. It's just a lack of eumelanin. And there's a word called melanocytes that's going to be very important when you start looking at this stuff. Melanocytes. Okay, I think I've read enough. There's all kind of information on redheads. Here we go, Vikings. Let's see, they say it's a myth. The Viking Irish redhead gene myth. Where do they get the money? Coming up, redhead curates from the county rinsing empties. I don't know what the hell they're talking about there. Let me go down to some real words. Okay, why is it that every St. Patty's Day, silly redheads, this is some guy's blog. Some of these guys are not a good source of information. When they start, with this talking about silly redheads, I know that's really not going to be a good source of good information because he's opinionated. Viking invasions, when Vikings are generally blonde or dark-haired. And I was under understanding that many of the Vikings had blonde to strawberry blonde hair. And that's what spread kind of the red hair gene around. So I'm not sure if this person is a good source of information. But as we know now, though, that it is a recessive gene and it's caused by a mutation. Just like blue eyes is caused by a recessive lack of melanin to code for the eyeball. My grandfather on my mom's side had blue eyes. That just means he lacked melanin to give his eyes a brown color. I believe Nolan said that they can see better in the dark. That's because they're light sensitive. So I totally believe that. I totally get it. Okay, fellas, peace. Before I close out, actually, I did find something very interesting under pain tolerance and injury. I don't know why they do these fucking studies, but they found that, or they believe that redhead people have a different sensitivity to pain compared to other people. I don't know what that means, but they found that red hair are more sensitive to thermal pain associated with low levels of vitamin K. Another study concluded that redheads are less sensitive to pain from multiple modalities, including noxious stimuli such as electrically induced pain. Now, I wonder how they got that information. They found that red-haired people require greater amounts of anesthetics. That's anesthesia when they go put them under. Other research publications have concluded that women with naturally red hair require less painkiller than do other women of other hair colors. That's interesting. It means something in their DNA. A study showed women with red hair had greater analgesic response to that particular pain medication than men. Okay, interesting. Endorphins. All right, here's something good. The skin pigmentation hormone, melanocyte stimulating hormone, and the pain relieving hormone known as endorphins. What are they talking about? unexpected relationship of hair color to pain tolerance appears to exist between redheads have a mutation in the hormone receptor that can apparently respond to at least 2 hormones. So the skin pigment hormone and the pain relieving hormone, which are the endorphins. These hormones are both derived from the same precursor molecule. Okay, and are similarly structured. Specifically, redheads have a mutated, we know that, gene, which causes a mutated receptor. Okay, now we're making sense. Also known as melanocortin 1 receptor. Melanocytes. I said melanocytes are important, which are cells that produce pigment in the skin and hair. Yep. Use the receptor to recognize and respond to melanocyte stimulating hormone from the anterior pituitary gland. Gotcha. Melanocyte stimulating hormone normally stimulates melanocytes to make black eumelanin, but if the melanocytes have a mutated, they will make reddish pheomelanin instead. Okay. Very interesting. Now, getting back to the continent of Africa, a certain group of people that kind of control the planet have gotten people to believe that, that Northern Africa is not part of Africa. And they use words, these mysterious words like sub-Saharan, because the Saharan desert, but they say sub-Saharan, and they try to make Northern Africa look like it's a whole separate part of the continent. No, African people originated here and they spread all over this continent. Okay? They also went into what they call the Holy Land next door. You know, they walked right over. The Yemen, all that, they spread into Europe, Asia, all over the place. Okay, so let's not get that twisted. So let's not use that word sub-Saharan. That means you got tooled by the same people that's trying to tool the world. That, you know, up here is a different than down here on the continent. And that's just not so. All right? Peace, fellas.